What if I told you the IRS didn't actually require you to pay the full monthly payment that they told you had to pay over the phone? What? That's right. You don't have to pay that full amount that they told you had to pay over the phone. At least you may not have to. I was able to help my client go from owing $895 a month to just $137 a month. And it wasn't because we got lucky, but it was because we knew what to ask for. We knew how the IRS works, and we knew the right things to say. It makes all the difference. Hi, I'm Shanta Thomas, enrolled agent, tax strategist, and the go-to for turning your IRS problems into IRS wins. So let's jump into it. I recently had a client who came to me who had tried to settle a debt on their own just a couple of months ago. When they called into the IRS had told them that they could set up a payment plan and they were going to be able to pay the balance quickly. When they call into the IRS said, great, we'll set you up a payment plan. It's $895 a month. My client was like, whoa, I can't afford $895 a month. And so they did try to call back to get it adjusted. Actually didn't even realize they were going into a payment plan. The IRS told them they needed a payment plan. The IRS put them in a payment plan. The client didn't fully understand that that's what they were setting up. So when they got something in the mail that said their $895 payment plan, also for those who don't know, that's known as an installment agreement, had been set up, they were shocked. But they assumed that because they had tried to do it and work and call the IRS and weren't getting anywhere, that was all they could do. But here's the thing. They didn't fully understand the agreement they were in, and they didn't fully understand how the IRS actually works. The IRS didn't do anything shady, but their desire is to collect their funds as quickly as they can. They are a collections agency. So their job is to collect funds. If they can collect it faster, they're going to do that. So what the IRS did was set up a payment plan that worked for the IRS. They set up something that was going to allow them to pay quicker, so the full balance was going to be able to get paid off. And it was not something that was going to work for the client and something that the client could actually afford. So my client didn't realize this again at the time, and they didn't think that it was negotiable because every time they tried to call in to renegotiate it, they didn't get anywhere. Now, the reason they weren't getting anywhere is because they were saying all the wrong things. What they needed to do was pull their transcripts and check their CSED date. So when they came to me, that's what we did. For those of you who don't know what a CSED date is, your CSED date stands for collection, statute, expiration date. And this is one of the most important things that you need to know when setting up a payment plan with the IRS. The IRS has a 10-year period from the date that a tax is assessed. Again, I say assessed, not the date in which you acquire the tax, but the date that it's assessed by the IRS to collect that money. Once that deadline passes, the IRS can no longer collect. So they're going to do everything they can to try to collect this money in that time. In this client's case, they had a few years left before the expiration date. In fact, it wasn't just a few years, they had 9 years left. We used that to our advantage. We structured a new payment plan or an installment agreement so that they were only paying what was necessary within the collection window. They weren't paying the full balance. And that allowed them to lower the balance to $137 a month. And it was fully approved by the IRS. Now, if this is something that you want to do or you've tried, there's a few things that you need to do when you call into the IRS. One of the very first things that you need to do is you need to understand what your CSED date is. Your CSED date, again, is your expiration date. And you got to know what that date is because that will drive how much you're going to have to pay per month. Now, there is going to be penalty and interest, whatever penalties and interest that are added. The interest is going to continue to accrue. So that gets factored in, but it can actually lower your amount significantly. That one question asking them, can you tell me what my CSED date is, will help you tremendously. The second thing that you can do is you can also go into your IRS individual account or business account for those of you who have businesses. Go on irs.gov and put individual account, business account, and set up an account that will allow you to pull your transcripts, tell you what you owe. It'll tell you what returns you filed, anything the IRS needs from you, but it can also tell you what those CSED dates are so that you can actually make sure that you can lower your payment. And the last thing is, when you do talk to the IRS, you want to make sure that you use this phrase. I'd like to set up a payment plan based on my CSED date and my current ability to pay. Now that tells the agent that, number one, you understand that you have a CSED date and you understand what your rights are. It also opens up the door to be able to lower your payment. So they're going to now set up a payment based on how much time you have left to pay. For some people, that does not work in their favor. For others, it does. So see what your CSED date is. So again, this client was struggling with paying the $895 a month. We were able to lower it to just the $137 a month because we use the IRS laws against them. You can do the same thing. I am Shanta Thomas, and I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're having issues with setting up a payment plan, or you're having issues with correcting a payment plan that was previously set up, maybe the IRS set it up on your behalf, or maybe you called in and set up something that was too high and it just doesn't work for you, then reach out to us. We'd love to help you. You'll see my information in the description box and also in the description box for this page. Thank you so much again for watching today's lesson, and I will see you in the next lesson.